Our first review of the day is going to be for the show Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Percy Jackson and Olympians is a Disney Plus series now available there. All 8 episodes are out right now, so if you wanted to binge it, you can do so. Seems like a lot of streaming shows. I guess is 8 the new magic number? It seems like all these streaming shows are just doing 8 now. Is that the new magic number now? Like they just do instead of 10, 12, so
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, you get 8 episodes. I think that was just probably a cost-cutting thing because, old TV, it was like 13 to like 26 episode seasons, and that got expensive.
Yeah, so I guess that's just the new magic number now. So, Percy Jackson and Olympians is based on a series of fantasy young adult novels there, written by Rick Riordan. He's the author of the series, and came out in 2005. I think was when the books came out. They did do a movie version of Percy Jackson there that came out in 2010. That starred Lurgan Lerman, and it's also starred Alexandria Daddario and also Brandon T. Jackson there. So I will say that this TV show compared to the movie, and they did 2 movies because they did Lightning Thief and they did the other adaptation.
They did Sea of Monsters. They adapted the first 2 books.
I forgot they did that.
Yeah,
I know of the existence of that. Damn, that's some real what's it called? Huntsman Witches War or whatever. Shit.
Yeah. So they did do 2 movies of there, and that was like them trying to capitalize on all the big young adult movies that were coming out in the 2010s, like The Hunger Games and Maze Runner and all those other ones. So yeah, they just do two of them, 2 of those films there. So this is a series. And when the films came out, even when the books came out, there were a lot of comparisons drawn to the other big YA fantasy series at the time, which was
Twilight.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah, that was a big one there. Harry Potter, which was by J.K. Rowling there. So massive success. Obviously, people know Harry Potter, multi-billion dollar, property there. So yeah, what is the story of Percy Jackson about? In case you don't know, I've never seen the films, you haven't read the books. And I did read the books, I think, back when I was a kid when they first came out. It's about a demigod by the name of Percy Jackson, half human, half god, and the part of his half god self is he's the son of Poseidon, who's one of the bigger gods. So they say like you have the 3 major gods that are usually the most powerful.
Yeah, the big 3, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. And this is set after, several millennia of their children running amok. So they took a vow to not father any more kids, which, lasted for about 5 minutes with the Greek gods.
Yeah. Given if kind of Greek god mythology there. So yeah, he's, it starts off, very much YA fantasy stuff. You have this kid, he's got this big destiny, he's got this big legacy. He struggles in school, he gets picked on, he gets bullied, and then then he learns of this great destiny of that he is the, half son. He's the son of Poseidon there, and that he sends him basically to a camp of bastards. That's basically what it is. Because he goes to like a training camp there of all these other kids that are there, of all these kids who are all, demigods, children of all the other famous gods there, people like Zeus or Hades, Athena. And then, of course, with any of these shows, these kind of properties here, fantasy YA, you always have to have a trio. And then, of course, a trio to carry out an adventure. And the trio here is you have Annabeth, she's the daughter of Athena. You also have Grover, who's the centaur there.
Grover's the satyr.
Oh, the satyr. I'm sorry. The centaur is the Glenn Thurman character there, who's in this, who was originally Pierce Brosnan in the movies there, if you remember that. But so you have him, who's the Grover. So their mission in this is that they have to recover Zeus's bolt, because if they do not recover Zeus's bolt, then there'll be this huge war that will break out between the gods. And it causes mass amounts of obviously danger and trouble there. If there's this huge war that goes on. So that's their mission. That's what they set off to do. And with, of course, the trio, you always have to have the goofy, funny one. You got to have the real smart one. And then you have to have the
miscellaneous.
The main leader guy who's the main character of the story. So he's got plot armor. So, he's got to save a lot of stuff. So, Annabeth, who's played by Leah Sava Jeffries there. She's the smart one. She's the one that knows about all the, gods and the more of the history and kind of lore of things. Grover is more of the funnier one there, more of the comedic relief of the group. Yeah, and then you have Walker Scobell who plays Percy there in this. Nick, what are your thoughts on Percy Jackson and the Olympians there?
All right, so when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of these books, and when I saw the Lightning Thief movie, I was kind of very disappointed with how many liberties they took with adapting that, aging up the characters completely, omitting major story arcs that happened in the book. And here you have Rick Riordan, who is a writer and executive producer on the show. He had a huge hand in getting this series made, and if nothing else positive to say about this movie, the show, excuse me, it follows very closely to the book.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't read the book in a long time, so yeah, probably need to refresh my memory on that. And what do you really remember much from the book there?
I remember really liking a lot of the world building with because in the world of the books, the gods kind of shift based on whatever the world power is at the moment. So here, of course, they're in America. So how they incorporated a lot of those myths and adapting them, putting in a modern setting, I liked a lot of that. And you get some some very good episodes here where you see figures from mythology. You see Medusa in her great little arc. You see you see Hephaestus and how he's created this like massive trap for his wife. You meet Hermes, who is played by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I know he gets a lot of hate, but I actually kind of liked his casting as that character.
Yeah. Shame we didn't get a Lin-Manuel Miranda rap in this. You know, Percy Jackson, gods and come and then fight us and then like shame we didn't get that. That's a shame. But you had a lot of kind of names that come in here as the gods. You have Edge, the wrestler, the WWE superstar. There, Adam Copeland. He comes in. He's Hades in this.
He's
Ares.
He's Ares, the god of war.
Yeah, God of War, Ares. There. You also have Jason Mantzoukas, who plays Dionysus as well in this.
Yeah, the god of wine.
Who's one of the coaches of the camp there. And it's kind of like, he gets into the camp. It really happens really early on because, like I said, they don't really have time to waste. It's only 8 episodes. So it's like kind of introduction. And then, he's with his mom and then he doesn't know anything about this. And his mom's kind of trying to help him break it all down. It's like, introduce him into this. And then boom, he gets popped into this camp there and he's getting all these lessons. And these kids, they're out for blood. I mean, these kids, like, because they're really competing because the whole thing is like, if you do really well in this camp, you'll get favor from your, absentee parent, your deadbeat fucking parent who's never there for you. That's like, maybe they will bless you and then finally acknowledge you. And then, it's like they're one of their kids. So that's what they kind of also fight to work towards there. And yeah, he gets a little, lessons in there, sword fighting, they play actual games of war there with between two groups of people, groups of kids. Yeah. How did you like the kid actors in here playing the?
Yeah, the kid actors, I think Walker Scobell, he's a great casting for Percy Jackson. He fits a lot of what I remember from the book. And for me, I think it took a little while for the chemistry between the 3 leads to actually get going and for them to feel like friends. I don't know if that was a pacing issue because the quest doesn't really start until the 3rd episode.
Yeah. Sometimes kid actors, it can be hit or miss. I do like the fact that you're right. In the movie, it was kind of distracting that you had so many kind of older kind of people, like clearly people in their late teens. So, and I get why they do that because obviously, why they do that for working hour reasons. You can only have kids work a certain amount of hours and everything. So I get why they do that, but it was kind of distracting for more of a child kind of fantasy stuff. So I like that they went more back to because these kids are 15 years old, 14. They're actually in the age group there. I do think they're not the strongest, maybe in terms of that. I think in some cases, and you're right. It did take a minute for it kind of to blend really well for them together. I do like some of the world building kind of aspects of it. And the effects of the show when you see kind of some of the things that kind of look in the show, like you'll see dragons, you'll see, creatures there. They look okay. I mean, for the most part, I don't think it's like one of the best looking Disney Plus shows that they have.
The effects either look really good or or kind of subpar, which is kind of a thing with Disney now. And something that I wasn't crazy about is the visual language of the show. It feels very flat. It feels like you can tell that this was shot almost exclusively on the volume by cinematographers who don't really know how to use that tool.
Mm, yeah. So it's now when you think like one of the better looking Disney Plus shows, you think of something like maybe Andor or
Mm.
like one of the Mandalorian.
Or even early Mandalorian.
Yeah. And I don't think it has that kind of look to it. But it's good starter kind of fantasy there for kids there. I think this skews maybe a little bit younger, which is fine. And that's kind of good there. I don't think there was really watching it and kind of binging it, even having all the episodes available. I don't think there was a lot motivating me to go from episode to episode. I was like, man, I can't wait to see what happens next, or man, I can't wait to see what this next episode is going to be. I just kind of like, okay, this is just okay. It's just fine.
Uh-huh.
There. What kind of some of your thoughts there?
That's kind of where I'm at with this too. The dynamic between the three, I feel like it takes too long to get going. The visuals on this show are kind of very flat. The pacing is the big letdown of this show, because in the books it is fairly slow pace, but you're kind of so drawn in by the dynamic between Percy, Annabeth, and Grover that you kind of can ignore a lot of the book's pacing issues. And here, I feel like it wasn't as strong as I would have liked. It feels like this show would have been better served animated, where you can actually do a lot of that insane visual styles that Rick Riordan wrote in those books.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sometimes, yeah, maybe animation is maybe a better way to go. But I do like, the performances here. I mean, you do have a good cast here. Megan Mullally in this. People know from Will and Grace. She's in here as one of the villains. She doesn't really do too much. She just kind of comes in and kind of, just looks evil and then is meant to kind of, intimidate the kids. You have Glenn Thurman in there. People know he was in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He was just recently in Rustin, both on Netflix there. He's good as like the kind of mentor to Percy coming in there. I think he's fine in that role. Jason Mantzoukas, it's he's not doing his typical Jason Mantzoukas thing. If you ever seen Jason Mantzoukas in anything like The League or something else,
he's not playing his like crazy guy.
Yeah, so he actually is more reserved here, which I actually kind of liked. I thought that was pretty good.
The real highlight for me was the performances from a lot of your side characters, like Edge or Adam Copeland, as he's credited playing Ares. He has so much screen presence, and he is probably the one who is having the most fun with this. I really liked Jessica Parker Kennedy's episode as Medusa. She adds new layers and shades to the Greek gods that just wasn't really in the books.
Yeah, her segment was pretty good. I thought her segment was really good, and she's been in stuff like she was in The Flash. She was Barry and Allen and Iris West's daughter in that there. But you wouldn't know because her face is covered for. I mean, her face is always covered.
Yeah, her face is covered for most of it by necessity almost.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, I don't think this really isn't that great of a show where I say like, hey, if you have Disney Plus, I mean, I guess if you already have Disney Plus, maybe check it out if they're there. But I think there's other better things on Disney Plus. Not say this is bad. It's just that it's just fine. It's just okay. I don't know if I'd be that interested for a season 2. I'd be like, I'd be interested to review it.
Yeah, if they do a season 2, they are going to need a way bigger budget, because that book is a Sea of Monsters, and that has way more insane visual stuff that goes on in that book.
Yeah. But there's some, like I said, good episodes. I like the Medusa episode. I thought was good. Anytime Adam Copeland shows up, I thought he was really good there. I thought he always gave the best parts of it. I liked, there's who plays Zeus. He comes in.
Lance Reddick, who plays Zeus he has so much screen presence already that when I was checking out of the show, he kind of brought me back in.
Yeah. Lin-Manuel Miranda is Hermes. I thought he was good, and then they did the whole episode. They went to like Vegas, and like they were in like this loop here, of like they couldn't remember what was going on. I thought that was a pretty good episode. I thought that was kind of really good there with how they did that. So yeah, I mean, there's some good things to enjoy here overall, but I just give it a kind of a stream it lower on the end of there. What about you? Final thoughts?
That's where I'm at too. I feel like the show is better served as an 8 episode binge, because when I was watching it week to week, I kind of kept having to remind myself. It was like, oh wait, a new episode is of the show's up. Okay, all right, and
Yeah,
that's the biggest crime of the show. It's fine.
yeah,
It's fine. It's an easy 8 episode binge. There was some cool stuff going on. I like the cast and the performances of it, but visually, I think it is just kind of flat. That I can't give this anything higher than a stream it.
yeah. Yeah. So there you go. 2 streamers for Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Nathan, he doesn't give a fuck about those gods. You know what I mean? About those,
Nah,
yeah.
nah,
He doesn't.
He don't like to read.
Yeah, he doesn't enjoy to read there.
not for me.
Uh,
What I don't like is Disney Plus shows on the whole. To be honest with you, although I rewatched Andor, and that is just elite television.
yeah, yeah. Andor's great. Andor's terrific. Yeah, I love me some Andor.
Yeah, watch that instead.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you had a kid, I mean, this would be good to start them off with to get them interested. I think in fantasy and that type of stuff. And this would be fine there. I mean, the books are also that good too. If you also want to have a kid there, and have them read the books. And you notice a lot of similarities, obviously, between Harry Potter and between this. And the difference, I think, Harry Potter was, I mean, even though it has a lot of those conventional things in it that are very, taken from other places, very conventional fantasy, it comes together better as a package because of what
it comes better together as a package. It feels the world already feels more fleshed out.
Yeah. Which is nice. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. That was our review for Percy Jackson